It's time for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the award-winning show that covers fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation here in the Great Northwest. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Mack's Lure Company, a legacy of innovation since 1969. By Loophole Optics, America's optical authority. By Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
By Wallowa County.
Nature is on display in Northeast Oregon. And by The Real News, your fishing resource. Also by Shiloh Inns and Suites, providing you with affordable excellence. And by Mardon Resort, the place for fishing, hunting, and more in Eastern Washington. And now, it's time to head outside with your host, John Cruz.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. No, not Christmas. It's fish camp in the Columbia River Gorge. That's what it is. And what is fish camp, you might ask? Well, really simple. Ed and Pam Iman put this on every year for outdoor writers and broadcasters and videographers to get together in the Columbia River Gorge at the Peach Beach RV Park, right on the Columbia River near Biggs Junction. We hook up with boat operators who are tournament anglers, avid fishermen, and also a few guides. And we also hook up with manufacturers who are in the industry, not just fishing tackle manufacturers like our sponsor Mack's Lure that's there every year, but also folks who participate in the fishing industry in different ways. Now, one of those is Lindsay Phelps with Columbia River Knife and Tools out of Oregon, and they just happen to have the right knife or two to fillet some of those salmon that are being caught by anglers at fish camp. And if you need something to sharpen those knives from Columbia River Knife and Tool, well, we've got that too. We're talking to Ben Sauerman with WorkSharp out of Ashland, Oregon. They make some fantastic belt-driven knife and tool sharpeners, and they've got some brand new attachments to put on their signature knife and tool sharpener. One of them is for the knife sharpening enthusiast. The other one will help you easily sharpen tools that you have around the house and in the shed. You're going to want to hear all about this. If you want to know how to catch salmon, whether it be at the mouth of the Klickitat or further upstream at Vernita, or maybe how to catch trout this fall on Lake Roosevelt, we've got just the guy for you. It's Mack's Lure Pro Guide Austin Mosier. We got to fish with him for Chinook salmon. Speaking of tips on how to go ahead and get fish in the boat, we're talking to Mack's Pro Guide Bruce Warren. Bruce is going to break down hover fishing, a very effective technique that's been working really well on the Columbia River, off the mouth of the Deschutes, off the mouth of the Klickitat, and off the mouth of the white salmon to get lots of Chinook in boats for folks. So we've got the salmon, we've got the knives to fillet them, and then Ryan Neely is coming on board from Camp Chef to help us with the next step, smoking some of these salmon fillets in a big smoke vault propane smoker, which also produced some great tasting smoked turkey and ribs during our stay at Fish Camp. If you're wondering what we were using to catch those salmon, well, let's say salmon eggs with ProCure was a big reason many anglers had success, as were quick fish and super baits with ProCure scent. Steve Young with ProCure out of Salem, Oregon is going to tell you about the scents they have available for salmon, sturgeon, and walleye. And we've got packages of these scents in gels to give away on the show, and you can actually enter to win right now. Just go to our Facebook page, Northwestern Outdoors Radio, or to our website, northwesternoutdoors.com. Let us know what station you're listening to. You're entered to win. We're going to go ahead and give away 2 of these packages. Each of these packages have 5 different scent bottles to a lucky winner who enters on Facebook and a lucky winner who enters on our website. Please only enter on one or the other, but enter now. On top of all this, we've got some upcoming events with an outdoors twist from all 4 Northwestern states you'll want to know about. But before we head over to Fish Camp, David Sparks joined us for another edition of Sportsman Spotlight, brought to you every week by Shiloh Inn and Suites. This week, David has a warning for deer poachers out there who might be thinking of breaking the law in Idaho this hunting season.
Spotlighters beware, David Sparks, Sportsman Spotlight. Artificial simulated animals are being used in Idaho to bust unlawful hunters. Idaho Fish and Game spokesperson Steve Liebenthal says Fish and Game is taking aggressive action on this activity.
The use of ASAs came about mostly as the result of people spotlighting at night.
I've known about spotlighting for years. What is it about a bright light that either attracts or stops game animals from fleeing
I can only answer that based on my own experience, and that is when a bright light is shown into my eyes, it kind of freezes in me in my tracks because I can't see anything else, and that seems to be the effect on animals. You shine a bright light in their eyes, and they're suddenly frozen. Imagine something that's able to take in such a small amount of light and being able to see suddenly being infused with a huge amount of light, and you can imagine why it would be blinding.
What kind of a hunter goes out and does something illegal like that and takes advantage of an animal?
I wouldn't describe that person as a hunter. I would describe that person as a poacher who has no interest in the sport of hunting.
Well said and accurate. This is David Sparks for Sportsman Spotlight.
Confused by so many national brand hotel reward programs? Blackout dates, expiration dates, different points for different hotel rewards, and gimmicks? At Shiloh Inn Suites Hotels, it's simple. No blackout dates for any rewards stay. If we have a room available, it's yours. Hi, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. As a rewards member, you'll receive free room upgrades, a dedicated personal agent to help book your stay, points that don't expire, points that can be used for free nights at any one of our beautiful hotels or donations to your local school or free airline tickets, and much more. And as a special bonus, you'll earn 100 free bonus points just for signing up. From your very first stay, you receive free Wi-Fi, free breakfast at most locations. The kids stay free. We don't charge ridiculous resort or parking fees, and we're dog-friendly. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American-owned and proud of it.
He said we're right on him. Without missing a beat, you'll drop your line down to 42 feet. If you don't screw up, it won't be long. Someone in this boat's gonna sing Fish On. Fish on, fish on. Do it by the book, don't take too long. Set the hook, reel it in strong. Fish on, fish on.
Welcome back to the Fish Camp edition of Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We have been fishing for salmon on the Columbia River, and we've been fortunate enough to go out with a great guide. He actually is a pro guide for Mack's Lure Company, for Iserline, and for Feather Sticks. His name, Austin Mosier. He fishes the Columbia River, and he's been getting into the salmon. Austin, how have you enjoyed Fish Camp so far?
Fish Camp's been great, John. We caught some really nice fish out here.
Absolutely we have, and you and I were fishing off the mouth of the Klickitat. Let's go ahead and break that down. Lots of Fall Chinook stacked up there. Lots of Chinook also stacked up at the mouth of the Deschutes. And even though they haven't been yet, I'm sure they will be off the mouth of the white salmon too. And there's a couple ways to catch them. One of them is hover fishing, and guide Bruce Warren's going to talk about that later in the show. But you've had great success trolling for these salmon. Why don't you tell our listeners exactly what you're doing to get fish in the boat?
Well, I started out with a Brad's Cut Plug super bait or a Brad's Original super bait. Red color has been very productive for me, a hotter tamale or a hot tamale plug. And we stuff those with tuna fish and other scents that we add to the tuna fish. I run about a 5-foot leader behind a Pro Trawl flasher, and I run my bottom tracking Canon downriggers. It's a very productive way to catch fish. They bottom track and keep my baits in the strike zone at all times. If I set them to 4 feet off the bottom, they stay right there at 4 feet off the bottom, automatically adjusting to the contour of the bottom. And it's a very productive way, and it's a lot of fun too. We use very long rods for that kind of fishing, downrigger 10.6, 1064 feather sticks downrigger rods, and they work very well. And they help to keep the line tight and keep the barbless hooks in the mouth. We have quite a issue with the barbless hooks coming out while we're fighting fish, but it's all fun, and we get our fair share in the boat.
Oh, absolutely. And some of those fish folks that were hooked at Fish Camp this year have been some real monsters. There was one that was hooked, got towards the boat, one of the boats, not Austin's, that was a 45-pound king. What was the biggest one you caught? You caught a couple really nice ones, too.
Yeah, I think the biggest one we got was about 26 pounds, and we caught several others in right around the 20-pound range. Very bright fish.
Oh, absolutely. They were beautiful fish. And Austin, you've been using downriggers. I know that's very common on the Mid-Columbia and Upper Columbia, but you didn't see very many people at all doing that in those places cases that we just talked about off the Klickitat and the Deschutes, a lot of those guys were trolling plugs, but they were using lead weights. And why do you use the downriggers as opposed to the lead weights? Is it just a matter of being able to really control the depth better?
That is the biggest reason why we use those. That we can control where our bait is at all times in the water column. There's no guessing. With the bottom trackers, I don't get hung up nearly as much as other people do, and plus my baits are directly below my boat and 20 feet back, whereas a lot of the lead guys that I was seeing were quite a ways back behind their boat, so they end up getting tangled with each other. And, when we were there at the Klickitat, the hover fishermen were all watching me and Shane, and we were hauling in a lot of fish, and the very next day that we went out, there was quite a few more trollers out there than there was hover fishermen.
Go figure. All right, folks. Again, we're talking to Austin Mosier. He is a fishing guide, and he calls the Columbia River his backyard for salmon. And we just talked about fish camp, but let's move a little bit upstream because I know another place that you've been fishing lately is Vernita. Very popular fishery for big salmon. Tell us about this fishery.
Well, it's a downrigger fishery for me. I run a lot of super baits, kind of the same setup that I'm running down on the Klickitat. There's a lot more current up here in this situation, river fishing. It's the last free flow of the Columbia, and it's a lot of fun, and there's some deep holes here and there. There's a whole bunch of different spots to fish all up and down the river. I'll run anywhere from 20 miles of river in a day to 5 miles. It just depends on water conditions, what the current's doing, and where the fish are that day.
This fishery on the mid-Columbia, this Vernita fishery, is really, really popular in September into October. How long does it last? How long can people go down there and expect to have good salmon fishing?
Well, the fishing, it's only going to get better to the middle of October, and there's new fish arriving every day. It closes in the upper stretch of the Hanford Reach on the 22nd of October, and I know that they do an extension down in the Ringgold area after the 22nd, but I'm not exactly sure if they are going to do that this year or not. I imagine they will with the run size that they're having.
Oh, it's been an incredible run this year, just like last year. And folks, if you haven't gone out on the Columbia for salmon fishing, you're missing out because there's a lot of salmon to be caught this year. Now, once you're done with Vernita, I understand you're going to take a little break, do some hunting, and then you're heading even further up the Columbia, way up the Columbia. You're going to be fishing that big impoundment called Lake Roosevelt come November and December. What are you going to be fishing for there?
I'm going to be targeting rainbow trout up there, and, we'll target some kokanee. The kokanee aren't as prevalent as the rainbow trout, but they have some awesome rainbow trout fishing up there. They're a triploid trout with red meat, so they're very good eating, but they're not typical football fish when you say triploid. They're more a long, hard-fighting trout. We get them up to 8 pounds up there, and they fight like crazy. So it's a lot of fun. We catch them on flatlining dodgers and J-flies and Mack lures, squidders. Use a lot of smile blades up there with the double D dodgers.
Those double D dodgers are great. I know those squidders are good not only for the trout, but for the kokanee as well. And that's actually very surprising to me that you're actually catching kokanee in the fall. Everybody talks kokanee spring and summer, but I've never heard anybody talk about it in November. Is it really pretty easy to get them, and how big do they get?
Well, I wouldn't say it's easy. We're catching 24-inch fish that, on occasion, 24-inch fish. A lot of times they're around that 20-inch mark. Catch them from 100 to 130 feet deep. Those are more of a bycatch when we're catching the rainbows. I'll put one downrigger down deep, and hopefully we pick up one. And they're awesome fish, and it's really nice when you get a bonus fish like that when you're catching your rainbows.
Austin, I'll be honest, when you first mentioned Lake Roosevelt and rainbows, I was thinking, why would you want to steer away from the salmon and steelhead? But now I'm getting it. I mean, kokanee, 20-inch kokanee, those are some big, big kokanee. And boy, that red meat, you can't beat. That is just so great tasting. And again, triploids, not the football triploids, but if you're getting these hard-fighting triploids up to 8 pounds, that's a good reason to go guiding up there. Does this fishery keep going all through the winter?
It really does. You just have to kind of change your area and follow the fish around where they are biting at the time. I'm going to fish it probably up until about December, and then I'll take a break for a little while, and I'll come back when it warms up a little bit and fish it in February and end of February there. And we catch quite a few fish, and they have pretty liberal limits up there.
Suffice it to say, folks, you can go ahead and have some great fishing this fall. And it starts basically on the Columbia River near the Dalles, and then you can move up towards above the Tri-Cities and fish the Hanford Reach. And then, if you're a Spokane angler or heading kind of that way, head up to Lake Roosevelt, all the way up towards Colville and Kettle Falls, and take advantage of that as well. Austin, we better give folks a phone number and a website so they can find out more and maybe book a trip with you too.
Yeah, my phone number is 509-668-0298, and my web address is austins.northwestadventuresllc.com.
That's Austin's Northwest Adventures LLC.com, Austin's Northwest Adventures LLC.com, or give them a call at 509-668-0298. That's 509-668-0298 to go fishing on the Columbia River this fall. Austin, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
You got it, John.
Fish on. Wind your line, got to make it whirl. You can't catch a king reeling like a little girl. You got fish on. Oh, fish on.
Good hunters know before you take that shot, you've got to see the whole picture. Now, the best way to do that is with a spotting scope, binoculars, or a rifle scope, but it's got to be from Leupold. Now, Leupold is a Northwest company with a reputation that stretches across the world for making superior optics. Look for Leupold Optics at your local Cabela store, Dick's Sporting Goods, or online at leupold.com. Leupold, America's optical authority.
Psst, yeah, you, the guide, outfitter, or outdoors business owner who's listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Have you ever thought of becoming a sponsor of our show? We've got local sponsor opportunities at all 50 of the stations that carry Northwestern Outdoors every week, and we've got some network opportunities too. If the outdoors is your business, we can help you with your advertising needs. Contact me, John Cruz, through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. That's northwesternoutdoors.com, helping you get the word out about your outdoors company.
We're back with John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's time for another Mack's Minute.
Fish on!
Brought to you every week by Mack's Lure Company. With us this week is Mack's Pro Guide Bruce Warren. Bruce, we're at fish camp. We've been fishing the Columbia River, and I understand you've been using smile blades while hover fishing to get fish in the boat.
You bet. Smile blades will add an extra flash to your bait, they'll add a little extra color to your bait, and you can change them up real quick, real easy to maybe get something that'll get those fish to going.
Let's go ahead and talk about hover fishing. Exactly how does that work? Go ahead and describe the setup and the technique.
Well, first of all, you need a fairly good rod, not too long, about 8 feet, with a fairly light tip and a little bit of backbone to it. 10 to 20 pound test works great. Put on that a chunk of 2 ounce lead. Cannonballs are my favorite because they don't hang up too bad. And you only need about 2, maybe 3 feet a leader. Again, about 20 pound test. Tie on between a 1/0 and probably a 3/0 hook. Your favorite bait of eggs, and of course don't forget that Mack Smile blade on there. Drop it down to the bottom, reel up 2 to 3 cranks, and watch that rod tip. That's the key.
Now, in hover fishing, you're not jigging, you're not moving it, you're just waiting for that fish to bite, and it's a really light bite, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very light bite. That's why you need a rod with a sensitive tip. You'll see that rod dip a little bit, maybe bump a little bit, but boy, not very much.
And the other key when it comes to hover fishing is I've always been trained, especially with the Chinook salmon. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, let them eat it. But that's not the case with hover fishing, is it?
No, it's not. You see that rod dip just a little bit, set it. Set it hard. You never know. It might be a sturgeon, but hopefully, and most of the time, it's a nice big Chinook.
Well, there you go, folks. Hover fishing demystified, and don't forget that Smile blade. It's a patented product from Mack's Lure Company. That's going to wrap up this Mack's Minute, but before we go, let's give people your website and a phone number so they can maybe book a trip with you.
You bet. My name is Bruce Warren at fishingforfunguideservice.com, and my phone number is 253-208-7433, and you can reach us on the web, too.
That's fishingforfunguideservice.com. Go ahead and book a trip with Bruce Warren. Great guy to spend a day with on a boat and to catch fish with, too. And that wraps up this week's Mack's Minute from Mack's Lure Company.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your camping equipment and fishing gear and head out to Northeast Oregon, where you'll find the views are endless, the air crisp and clean, and the water's cold and clear. Set up camp by the shores of Wallowa Lake or in the heart of the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. Take your fishing gear and cast your bait into the deep waters of Wallowa Lake, or roll your fly into one of the eddies of the many freestone creeks and rivers teeming with fish. This summer, take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
It's a great time to go fishing, and whether you're heading to the lake for trout, to the saltwater for salmon, or fishing the Columbia for Chinook or steelhead, The Real News has got you covered. The columnists at The Real News are just like you, die-hard anglers. Better still, they share their expertise to help you have a great time on the water. The Real News has been going strong for 26 years and prides itself on being Washington's only sport fishing newspaper. Look for your copy at local sporting goods retailers or subscribe online at therealnews.com.
Wetlands are some of the most important ecosystems on Earth, but our wetlands are quickly disappearing. Find out how you can help. Join Ducks Unlimited today.
I'm gonna jig me up a walleye from the bottom of the lake, and I'm not gonna tell you what I use for bait. I'm a jigger. I'm the best jigger around.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're broadcasting again from Fish Camp in the Columbia River Gorge. And we talk a lot about fishing. But now we're going to talk about something that you're going to use to fillet those fish that we've been catching here at camp. It's fillet knives and a whole bunch more from Columbia River Knife and Tool. With us here to tell us more from CRKT is Lindsay Phelps. Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Lindsay, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Columbia River Knife and Tool story? You know, where's home for this company? And even though you're not as well known as some of the big guys out there, you produce a lot of different products, don't you?
We do. We have about 250 different SKUs. We're based in Tualatin, Oregon. This is our 20th anniversary. We started in 1994. So April 1st is our actual anniversary. We do have a lot of different products, like we said earlier. We cover a lot of different areas: sport and work, hunting, tactical, multi-tools, just a big variety of products. We try to hit a lot of different areas.
Now, your bread and butter is knives, obviously, but you produce some things that are very different than knives. I saw some, well, they look like hatchets or tomahawks, and you've got all sorts of, like a survival sort of a knife on a bracelet. I mean, what are some of the other things you have out there?
We have hoist. We have a hoist system that we just brought out this year. It's called the Hoist and Lock. We have a tree stand version as well as a big game version. We have some survival bracelets that have a wire saw that's encased within the paracord that can be brought out in a survival situation. You know, a lot of different items like that. Like we have accessories that go along with that survival parasaw. And we have our Eaton tool, which is kind of a different product that's fun for carrying around for camping or just on the go.
And I might ask you more about that later. Let's go ahead and talk about the fillet knives. It being Fish Camp, they're getting a lot of use. And I want to start off with your Big Eddie fillet knife. I was actually just watching Bruce Warren, one of the guides here at camp, fillet a nice Chinook salmon that was caught out on the river today. And he was raving about this knife. He said it was really, really sharp. He liked the flex, and he really liked the fact that it has a really good non-slip handle to it. Tell our listeners more about the Big Eddie fillet knife.
Sure. That was designed by Russ Comer. Russ was an Alaskan guide for many years and is now located in North Dakota. He does a lot of designing for us, a lot of hunting and fillet knives, as well as that big game hoist that we mentioned earlier in the program. It has a stainless steel blade, which is great for corrosion resistance, though you do still have to maintain just like any sort of blade. The craton handle you mentioned earlier is great for grip, really secure. It has a great flex to the blade, and it also has a nice sheath that's glass-filled nylon that's really sturdy.
Let's go ahead and talk about another fillet knife you have here, and I really like this one because I'm a guy that likes to go ahead and hike and fish, and sometimes I'm going to keep those fish, so having a folding fillet knife like the Surf and Turf is something that appeals to me. Tell our listeners more about this really nice folding fillet knife.
Well, this is also designed by Russ Comer. It retails for about $60. It has a palm handle, which is kind of a composite. Also a stainless steel blade. So it's a fillet and boning knife, and it's really handy. You can throw it in your backpack, in your tackle box. It's just really accessible because it has that folding capability.
Now, it's got a little red button here, and it's almost like a safety. So why don't you tell our listeners about that, too?
That is called our auto locks. So when you open the knife and it's fully engaged, this little lock pops in, and it goes in front of the locking liner. So if that locking liner were ever to fail, it's going to stop it from closing on your hand.
Well, suffice it to say, folks, you're never going to cut yourself again with a Surf and Turf folding fillet knife with this great safety feature. We've talked a lot about fishing, but hunting season is starting as well, and I absolutely love the sheath knife here, this Comer
free-range hunting knife. Feels great in the hand. Tell our listeners more about this.
The one you're holding is actually the free range. It has a double injection molded handle, which is that great grip, really secure. It'd be great when you're, skinning or just any sort of camp chore. This series that we originally started has 4 models. It has 2 clip points, 1 folding and 1 fixed, and 2 gut hooks, 1 folding and fixed. This year, in June, we released a smaller version of a folder and fixed blade. They're also clip points. They retail for $50 and $45. Again, also designed by Russ Comer. He's had a lot of experience, so he's done some really great items. It has a stainless steel blade, and they all come with sheaths, which are great for carry.
Now, you keep talking about clip points. What are those?
So the clip point is the style of blade. So when you have a gut hook, for instance, it's very obvious. You've got that gut hook on the top of the blade, but the clip point has a slight rise in the tip. And so a drop point, you can tell, obviously goes down a little bit, but this clip point is very popular with hunters.
Well, it makes for a very good-looking knife, too, I've got to tell you. Again, the free range, great knife from Columbia River Knives and Tools if you're a hunter. If you're an angler, you're going to want to go ahead and get the Comer's Big Eddie or the Comer Surf and Turf. And there's all sorts of other knives and tools you can get as well. Everything from tomahawks to survival bracelets to one other thing we've got to talk about. I understand this is like your most popular item, the Eaton tool. Campers are going to love this. Tell me more about the Eaton tool.
So the Eaton tool is designed by Liang Ma, and we have 2 versions actually. We have the standard Eaton tool and we have the Eaton tool XL, which is a little bit bigger. So the standard Eaton tool has a 5, 6, and 8 millimeter wrench. You have a bottle opener. You also have a screwdriver tip or a pry tip, as well as the spork itself. It's made out of stainless steel. Comes in the bead blast, black, fuchsia, tangerine, and yellow. And then the Eaton tool extra large comes in the bead blast and black, and it also has the old traditional can opener style on it.
So are most people, I see a carabiner here, are most people like putting these on a knapsack, or most people just putting them in their pocket, and then, when they get hungry or thirsty or whatever, they whip it out and they go ahead and use it to eat?
Exactly. You can carry any way you need to. A lot of people have them in their cars for takeout or whatever, but a lot of people do clip them to their backpacks or when they're on the trail.
We are starting to run out of time, but before we go, we better give people a website, and we better tell people about some places they can find Columbia River Knife and Tool products. What are some of the stores that you're in?
Some of the local stores may be REI, Cabela's, Bass Pro, places like that, as well as your local cutlery shops. And then our website is www.crkt.com.
Easy website, folks. That's CRKT.com, CRKT.com for Columbia River Knife and Tools. They're a Northwest company headquartered out of Tualatin. Go ahead and check out their website. Check out their product line. I think you're going to really like these lightweight but tough and sturdy and very sharp knives. Lindsay, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much.
I'm the best jigger around. I'm on a jiggy, 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 jiggy. Jig me up a walleye right now.
Oh, honey, it sure is a beautiful day to be out on the water.
It sure is. And you know what? I've got something special for you today.
You do?
Yep. It's a wedding ring. It's gold, it's pretty, and it hangs on and won't let go.
Oh my gosh, honey, I love you.
I love you too, babe. Here you go.
But that's a fishing lure.
Well, of course it is. It's a Mack's wedding ring spinner. It's been catching trout, kokanee, walleye, and panfish since 1969. What did you think it was?
I thought it was a wedding ring.
Oh.
Mack's wedding ring spinner. It's a great lure, but maybe they should have named it something else. Look for it wherever you buy sporting goods.
You jerk!
I'd like to tell you I just brought down that buck, but I didn't. I missed. And you know why I missed? Because of the scope I've got on my rifle. You see, my friends told me to get a Leupold rifle scope. Why? Well, because Leupold is America's optical authority. They make a huge variety of quality scopes for every need, and they make them right here in the Northwest. Unfortunately, I didn't listen. I used the cheap scope that came with this rifle when I bought it. And when it came time to pull the trigger, well, let's just say things were a little blurry. Now, I've got nothing to look forward to except a long, empty-handed walk back home. Next time I come out into the field, there's going to be a loophole scope on my rifle. And next time, I'm not going to miss.
Loophole Rifle Scopes. Check out the whole line at loophole.com and look for them at a sporting goods store near you.
Looking for the ultimate cooking machine for your backyard or patio? Look no further than Camp Chef's new pellet grill and smoker. With user-friendly features like an auto ignition, digital readouts, and internal meat temperature sensors, it's easy to smoke the tastiest salmon, ribs, brisket, and turkey you'll ever eat. And an innovative system makes cleanup a snap. Everyone will want the food you're cooking on your Camp Chef pellet grill and smoker. The quality smoker that's second to none. Find out more at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. To join us, go to pheasantsforever.org.
I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it. Gonna get up before the sun and rise above us. Got a bamboo pole and a leafy
You're back
boat.
with the Fish Camp edition of Northwestern Outdoors Radio, and this portion of the show is brought to you every week by Mardon Resort, located at Eastern Washington's Potholes Reservoir. It's cast and blast time. That's right, October and November. Great times to head out to Eastern Washington and around Potholes Reservoir for duck hunting, for goose hunting, for pheasant, for quail, and bring that fishing pole because the bass and the walleye fishing is off the hook. Find out more at mardonresort.com. That's mardonresort.com, where the fish bite, but we don't. Next up on the Fish Camp edition of Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we get to talk to a lot of manufacturers that come here and they bring some goodies for us. And guess what? We're going to give away some goodies on their behalf. With us to tell us more about a package of gels and bait oils we're giving away is Steve Lynch with ProCure. Steve, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much.
Steve, you've been a busy guy at Fish Camp this year. There's been a lot of people going after salmon. You've been curing a lot of eggs from the salmon that have been brought back, and that's great. And we're going to have to save that for another time because I want to talk about this giveaway that you've got here. We've got 5 little bottles of oils and gels that work not just for salmon but other species as well. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners all about it?
Sure. What I've done here is, there's fishing for several species. They're doing walleye, they're doing bass, they're doing salmon, sturgeon. So in this kit is a combination of everything. I have the oils if they're using bait. They can inject or marinate the bait with the oil. And then I have gels if they're using quick fish or any artificial lures or soft plastics. The gels will stick beautiful. So in this kit, I've got the bloody tuna in both the oil and the gel. So I'll cover both sides of that. I've got the sardine in the super gel, which is awesome for wrapping quick fish. You can put a little bit of this on the bill and it does beautiful. I've got the trophy walleye, which is a blend of nightcrawler, leech, and minnow. It works on other species other than walleye, but we label it that just to target the walleye, and it does a phenomenal job. We've got the garlic bloody tuna, which was new this year in January, and it has been one of our top selling since. It's just gone crazy with that. Every species that we're aware of is going after the tuna, and so we've done an anise bloody tuna and a garlic bloody tuna this year, and it's just been phenomenal.
Well, there you go, folks. If you want to win this set of 5 different gels and oils, here's what you do. Just go to northwesternoutdoors.com, send us an email and say you want the ProCure package, and you're entered to win. The website again, northwesternoutdoors.com. We are asking that you let us know what radio station you're listening to. And by the way, we ought to mention the fact, Steve, that you are a Northwest company too. Where's home for ProCure?
ProCure's been in Salem for 30 years. We started 30 years ago. We celebrated our 30th anniversary just last month. And we started with commercial cures for curing salmon eggs. We were the first company starting that, and now there's about 17 cure companies on the market. But we're right in downtown Salem.
Love to hear that. So again, that's ProCure. They're from Salem, Oregon, and they're giving away 2 of these packages, each one containing 5 different gels and oils of different flavors that's going to help you catch more salmon, more walleye, more sturgeon, and other fish as well. Again, just go to northwesternoutdoors.com, send us an email, let us know what station you're listening to. You can also contact us on Facebook at Northwestern Outdoors Radio and give us the same information. You're entered to win. We'll pick 2 winners after our last broadcast this week. And if you want to find out more about ProCure, go to their website. It's pro-cure.com. That's pro-cure.com, and you'll find ProCure in fine tackle shops and sporting goods stores all over the Northwest. Steve, thanks for making this available to our listeners on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Up next on our Fish Camp edition of Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we've told you about the great fishing here, especially for salmon this year. So you got to ask your question, what are you going to do with all that fish? Well, a lot of it is going to be baked, a lot of it's going to be barbecued, but some of it's going to be smoked. And fortunately, we've got Ryan Neely here from Camp Chef, and he brought along some fantastic smokers. It's called the Smoke Vault. It's from Camp Chef, and it's a smoker like you've never seen before. Ryan, tell our listeners more about it.
Well, John, the Smoke Vault is awesome, and I'll tell you one thing, we're going to need to catch a little bit more fish here in order to fill these things up because they're big. We have a 24-inch version that's 24 inches wide, and then also an 18-inch version. The Smoke Vault puts out a wide range of heat from about 170 degrees all the way up to, you can get over 400. Here in camp, we're going to be smoking some fish, and I know that we already did smoke some, but also it's great for if we're here in camp or even at home and we want to bake some pies, we can slide those right in there too.
Well, actually, it's funny. We actually just had some smoked turkey. Folks, it was probably the best smoked turkey I've ever had in my life that came out of this Smoke Vault. And a couple things we need to talk about here. This isn't the smoker you're thinking of, folks, where it's like a little flimsy steel shell with some trays and you plug it into an outlet. This is a propane smoker. It's big, it's beefy, it's built to last a lifetime, and it will handle a lot of meat and a lot of fish. How many racks are in there, and about how much meat or fish can you put in there?
You got 4 different racks in there, and you can purchase additional ones and switch them around as you like. So we obviously did 2 full turkeys in there today. You can fit more, and I believe you could probably fit up to 6 pork butts in there. So there's a lot of room. All the salmon you're going to want to fit in there will be great. It's a fun tool to have.
The perfect addition for your home if you want to use it for salmon that you're going to catch this fall or turkey for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The Smoke Vault from Camp Chef is probably for you. Let's give folks a website and some places where they can find the Smoke Vault too.
Go to campchef.com, but also check out Sportsman's Warehouse or your local sporting goods store, and you'll be able to find the Smoke Vault there.
It's the Smoke Vault from Camp Chef. Go to campchef.com, Sportsman's Warehouse, or quality sporting goods stores, and in some cases hardware stores too that are near you. Ryan, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's good camping with you, John.
Next up on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we've got another product review for you, this time from WorkSharp. It's the knife and tool sharpening company that's made a big name for themselves out of Ashland, Oregon. Now, if you've listened to our show, particularly our Christmas gift giveaway version of our show, you know that WorkSharp makes some fantastic knife sharpeners, belt-driven knife sharpeners. Well, now they've got a couple of attachments for these sharpeners. With us here to tell us more is Ben Sarman with WorkSharp, and we'll start off with this attachment, the blade grinding attachment. What is this all about? What does it do?
The blade grinding attachment is basically a new attachment we have out for it that's more aimed at knife enthusiasts. It's an open belt application, which also provides you with the angles that you would get with the Ken Onion version itself. It's just in an open belt format, easier to work with. A lot of people like to just be able to see exactly what they're doing, and so it makes it a lot easier. It also can work with bigger tools because it is open, and it's a great new attachment.
When we're talking about it as an attachment, it literally attaches onto the existing knife sharpener itself?
Yeah, it's just like a click and lock rotate application.
Okay, so really easy, no tools needed or anything like that?
None at all.
You do have to have the knife sharpener to start with, but then you can put this blade grinding attachment onto it. So again, if you're a real knife enthusiast, this sounds like something you're going to be interested in. But those of us who own tools of every sort are going to be really interested in this tool grinding attachment. Tell me more about this. This is really compact. I like it.
Yeah, the tool grinding attachment is another click and lock, just rotates right onto the Ken Onion sharpener. This one's good for just open grinding applications, bigger tools, especially lawnmower blades that are really big. This will just grind right over the top of them and get you a new edge really easy. It works really well for shovels, hose, anything that you have around, as well as just grinding metal. So it's a very, very good attachment.
Wow, I can see this one will be really popular at the hardware stores in particular, because how often do you have to go take that lawnmower down to somebody and pay a little bit more than you'd want to pay to have those blades sharpened, and now you can do it at home really easy, can't you?
Absolutely. It's very fast, very easy, works every time.
So again, that's the tool grinding attachment and the blade grinding attachment for the WorkSharp
WorkSharp knife sharpener. You can find all of this at a number of stores. Why don't we go ahead and talk about some of the bigger chain stores where you can find WorkSharp products?
We're in most of the outdoor stores, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops. We just got into Dick's, so we're now in Dick's Sporting Goods as well. And most of your local stuff, Ace has these. You can find them all over Sportsman's Warehouse. So there are a lot of stores have them.
Like I said, folks, WorkSharp is making a big splash in a hurry, and there's a good reason for it. It's a quality product. You can also go to their website. It's WorkSharpTools.com. Again, WorkSharpTools.com. Go ahead and check out the blade grinding attachment and the tool grinding attachment. And if you don't have a knife sharpener yet, you're going to want one because they are great. Thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors, Ben.
Thanks. I appreciate the time, John.
Rise above us, got a bamboo pole and a leaky boat. It ain't much, but if you bail, it'll float. I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it.
At Shiloh Inn Suites Hotels, 4-star accommodations come with something else you'll really appreciate: affordability. Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Relax in Shiloh's beautiful deluxe smoke-free suites. Enjoy Shiloh's spacious pools, spas, steam, and sauna rooms. At Shiloh Inn Suites Hotels, we're making 4-star excellence affordable with more free amenities than most any other hotel chain. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence.
Psst, yeah, you, the guide, outfitter, or outdoors business owner who's listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Have you ever thought of becoming a sponsor of our show? Contact me, John Cruz, through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com for more information. That's northwesternoutdoors.com, helping you get the word out about your outdoors company.
Ducks Unlimited is the leading waterfowl and wetlands conservation organization in the world. Here in Idaho, we've lost nearly 76% of our wetlands. Ducks Unlimited is working to stop that loss. In Idaho alone, DU has restored and conserved over 27,000 acres of wetlands. Learn more about the benefits of wetlands and what Ducks Unlimited is doing for Idaho's future. Visit ducks.org/Idaho.
We're back with one last cast from John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
You're back with the Fish Camp edition of Northwestern Outdoors Radio, broadcast from the Columbia River Gorge on the border of Oregon and Washington. And if you haven't entered to win yet for those ProCure scents and gels, now's the time to do so. That's right, we're giving away 5 of these scents and gels from ProCure. Help you catch everything from salmon to sturgeon to walleye. And if you want to win, you need to go to our Facebook page, Northwestern Outdoors Radio, or to our website at northwesternoutdoors.com, one or the other. Let us know what station you're listening to, and you are entered. We're going to give away one of these packages to somebody who enters on Facebook and another package to somebody who enters on our website. So again, that's Northwestern Outdoors Radio on Facebook, northwesternoutdoors.com on the World Wide Web. Enter to win, and you just might get some scent that's going to put some fish in the boat for you. Let's run through some upcoming events before we go. If you are into quality stargazing, head to Bruneau Dunes State Park in south central Idaho before October 11th. They have an observatory there that is open an hour before sunset until well after dark on the weekends, where you can see all sorts of cool things in the night sky. That's Friday and Saturday nights, but it is ending soon. That's right, it ends October 11th. So contact Bruneau Dunes State Park for more details about this fun opportunity. If you want to learn about mushroom picking, the rangers at Fort Stevens State Park at the northwest tip of Oregon have guided programs and walks to help you out with that from now through November, primarily on Sundays and Mondays. The cost is minimal, and the education will last you a lifetime. Find out more by contacting Fort Stevens State Park near Astoria. In Montana, the Bridger Raptor Fest is going on October 3rd through the 5th around Bozeman, Montana. The festival, which is free to the public, centers around an annual count each fall of the largest known golden eagle migration in the U.S. The Bridger Raptor Festival takes place at the Bridger Bowl ski area just north of Bozeman, and activities include a wildlife film festival, interpretive programs with live raptors, nature walks, talks, face painting, storytelling, education, and entertainment for people of all ages. And in Washington, hunting for chukar, huns, now known as gray partridge, and valley quail, opens up across the state on October 4th. So, if you have a hunting dog and an urge to do some walking, this is a good month for you to get outdoors. That's all for this week. We hope you enjoyed the Fish Camp edition on Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We'd like to thank Ed and Pam Iman for putting on this wonderful event for us outdoor writers and communicators. We get to attend it every year, and we love it. And we'd also like to thank the Peach Beach RV Park for having us back 12 years in a row. If you're looking for a clean, comfortable RV park to camp or stay at right on the Columbia River near Highway 97 and Biggs Junction, this is the place for you. They don't have a website, but we do. It's northwesternoutdoors.com. Go ahead and check it out. Find out about the guests we've had on the show this week and guests coming up in the near future. And if you missed some of this show, you'll be able to hear that too all week long. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We're always posting information and photos there that we just can't fit into the show. Until next time, take care, God bless, and make it a point to spend some time outdoors.